a remote village and the shadow of karma. In a secluded village nestled between mountain ranges and surrounded by a dense, forbidden forest, an ancient tale loomed over the villagers. They spoke in hushed tones of a creature of the night, a shadowy figure that appeared only on dim moonlit nights. Known as the Dark Karma, this entity had no discernible form, yet it exacted punishment for past wrongdoings on anyone who encountered it. The story begins with a young man named Lamb, returning to his hometown after years of chasing ambition in the city. Though his heart brimmed with dreams of wealth and power, it was also laden with unease. Lamb's past was riddled with misdeeds that haunted him like an ever-present specter. He believed that achieving success and influence would erase his sins and secure his redemption. On the night of his wedding to the woman he loved, an eerie event disrupted the celebration. A chilling wind swept through the house, enveloping the room in a thick darkness that froze everyone in place, everyone except Lamb. He realized the darkness was no ordinary phenomenon. It was a manifestation of karma, the consequence of his past actions. Lamb was thrust into a journey to confront his own karma. As his loved ones fell into peril and his life began to crumble, he desperately sought a way to undo the dark deeds of his past. His inner torment was amplified by a haunting voice from his memories. Karma will not spare you unless you face it. Lamb had no choice but to confront the sins of his youth, years of selfishness and cruelty that could no longer be ignored. The shadows of his victims haunted him, forcing him to acknowledge the pain he had caused. Each attempt to escape the darkness only dragged him deeper, a constant reminder of his transgressions. This story is not just a quest for redemption, but a battle against one's own karma. Lamb would need to learn to accept and change himself, not just to save his own soul, but also to protect those he loved. Ultimately, he faced a pivotal decision. Could he relinquish his personal ambitions to truly start anew, or would he remain trapped in the shadow of his dark karma? The turning point. After enduring sleepless nights filled with terror, Lamb found himself physically and emotionally depleted. The mirror reflected a man he no longer recognized, a shadow of his former self. Each time he gazed into it, he saw the faces of those he had wronged, their anguish etched into his mind. In a moment of despair, Lamb sought the help of the village's revered monk, the abbot of an ancient temple rumored to hold the power to cleanse one's soul. However, the villagers warned that anyone entering the temple would face arduous trials, confronting every mistake and misdeed they had committed. The abbot, a serene old man with silver hair and piercing eyes, welcomed Lamb without a word. Gesturing for him to follow, the monk led him into the temple grounds. The air grew heavy, and a profound silence enveloped them. Lamb felt as though he had stepped into another realm. The abbot's gaze was both compassionate and stern as he finally spoke. "You have committed wrongs, but you cannot run from them forever," he said. "Every action has consequences, and to find liberation, you must confront them."
Lam nen lek, Jem Ling.
"Master, I don't know how to escape my past. The faces of those I've hurt haunt me every night. I fear I can never change." The abbot smiled gently, his eyes reflecting deep understanding. "You have walked a misguided path, but your journey is not over. To free yourself from karma, you must face it and act with righteousness. Redemption lies not in erasing the past, but in transforming the present." The trial of meditation. Guided by the abbot, Lamb entered a dimly lit room within the temple. The flickering light of oil lamps cast long shadows across the walls. The monk instructed Lamb to sit and meditate, warning him that this would be a confrontation with his deepest fears. As Lamb closed his eyes, an overwhelming sensation swept over him. He felt as though he were falling into a dream from which he could not awaken. In this vision, the faces of his past victims appeared, their eyes filled with pain and resentment. Though they spoke no words, their accusations echoed in his mind. "You harmed us. You must pay the price." The apparitions transformed into grotesque, nightmarish forms, clawing at him from the shadows. Lamb felt crushed under the weight of his guilt. But amidst the chaos, the abbot's voice resonated in his mind. "See them, but do not let them control you. They are the shadows of your karma, and only genuine remorse can set you free." Summoning his courage, Lamb forced himself to face the specters. He realized that these haunting figures were manifestations of his own guilt and regret. The pain he had inflicted on others now mirrored his inner turmoil. Yet, running from these shadows would only deepen their grip on him. To break free, he had to forgive himself and accept the consequences of his actions. The final confrontation. After hours of meditation, Lamb emerged from the trial, no longer burdened by the oppressive visions. The abbot awaited him, his eyes filled with quiet pride. "You have done well," the monk said. "You have faced your karma and ceased to flee from it. This is the first step toward liberation." Lamb bowed deeply, gratitude welling in his heart. He knew the path ahead would still be challenging, but he was ready to change. A new beginning. Lamb returned to the village, transformed. He dedicated himself to acts of kindness, helping the less fortunate and contributing to the community with a newfound sense of purpose. Though his karma could not be entirely erased, Lamb found peace in living a life of compassion and humility. In the end, Lamb discovered that true liberation lay not in escaping his past, but in embracing it as a catalyst for change. Through his journey, he learned that redemption is not a destination, but a continuous process of growth and self-awareness.